It's muted. Okay, welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles. I went through a whole minute. with my mic muted. That's crazy. Anyway, this is episode 3 of Let's Spin the Block one more time. So I'm letting the live viewers know that I will not, or I'm going to try to respond to some of the comments, but this is for my audio podcast stream. So I'm hoping I can get some folks in here, get a little bit of engagement, but I'm going to do my thing anyways. So I'm going to get everything else started on my end, my audio end. So just bear with me just a second while I get that going, because I know, where's my arrow? There it is.
Welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. This podcast was designed to let you know that you aren't the only one that took forever to get it together. So the rabbit hole that you have stumbled down will hopefully help you understand that just when you think it's over, it's only the beginning. Just because you were dealt a bad hand doesn't mean you have to keep it. Welcome to the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast.
All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. I think I've already mentioned that one time before, but I'm going to do that again. Just for my audio listeners, I'm actually streaming this episode today on Facebook and on YouTube. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully I can get some engagement. If not, I'm also live streaming on TikTok. I'm not sure if anybody on TikTok is going to be on here or if they can even hear me, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Now, this podcast, just to give you guys a little bit of audio listeners, a little bit of back story, just to catch you guys up. This podcast is to help other people not to make the same mistakes that I've made, because I've made a slew of them. And so, I've always set out to try to help other people. Sometimes it's not always easy to help other people, because some people don't want to really listen to what you have to say. But this is my cautionary tale. This is I am on episode 3. There are a few things that that I have discussed in the beginning of this, and we launched this podcast. If you watch the first 2 episodes or listen to the first 2 episodes that discussed when I was 16, finding out that the father that raised me wasn't my biological father, and how traumatic that was for me. And there's still some things, even in my age now, being 50, things still trigger me to the day. But we discussed that in episode 1. And episode 2, we discussed my first marriage, because I got married really, really young. And I don't know why. I mean, I do know why I did it. I got married young the first time because I wanted to be out of my mama's house, and it was just easier for me to do. It was just easier for me to go and do something else, just to get out of the house. I wanted to be out of my mama's house. So now we're going into episode 3. Now, episode 3, I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm gonna warn you guys right off the bat. Strap up, because this strap the hell up, because episode 3 is gonna be a little bit difficult. So I will tell you guys, I will tell anyone that's listening, leave them cougars alone. You understand what I'm saying to you? Leave them cougars alone. Let me tell you why I say that, okay? Because so if you guys listen to episode 2, me and my first wife, we kind of just parted ways because of, irreconcilable differences was the biggest thing that happened between me and her. Just to give a short story, short version of that. It's just irreconcilable. And so we decided to part ways, and it was a trying time. But this is what I did. I cheated on her, right? because things had gotten so bad between us. I mean, there was no communication. There was really nothing going on in our life. And I cheated on her, right? The problem was that I cheated on her with an older woman. Now, for the sake of this podcast, I'm not going to give her name, but uh, I can't remember what I called her the last time I did this. But let's see. Me and my friend from Louisiana was talking this morning about it, and you know what? I'm going to call her Shirley because she said it. I'm going to call her Shirley. And so I met this woman. I was doing security at a place called Selectron in Charlotte, North Carolina, a company that's no longer about. And I met this woman, and her name was Shirley, for the sake of the podcast. And Shirley was just this statuesque woman. I saw her, I was instantly attracted, um, and I decided to shoot my shot, at her. So I shot my shot, and at first, she was. At first, she did not want to give me any type of day because um, I was young. I think at the time I was 20, 20, 21. I can't remember exactly the age, but I think it was 20 or 21. Nonetheless, um, so I ended up shooting my shot at this older woman. I go back to rule number one: leave them cougars alone. Them cougars ain't about nothing. Excuse me. Leave them cougars alone, man. Man. It's bad. Anyway, so I shot my shot. And so, when I shot my shot, I was very truthful with her, and I told her what my age was. But she wasn't truthful to me about what her age was. So I'm going through. I'm thinking, hey, man, this statuesque woman, man. When I tell you she was stacked, like a Russian brick house. I mean, she was stacked. Um, so we started dating, and she intrigued me so much to the point where I left my first wife. I mean, because of what I went through with her and all the drama and the nonsense and the baby stuff, and it was just a lot. And so I ended up leaving her on a whim. Just didn't. It was one of those didn't come home one day type deals. It wasn't like I packed up my bags and said, I'm going. It wasn't like I packed up my bags and said I'm going over there. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those. Hey, you guys on TikTok. It was one of those. I ain't coming home, and so I didn't. I didn't come home, and I ended up moving in with the older lady. Leave them cougars alone. Them cougars ain't nothing. I'm telling you, they rough out here. They rough. And so I moved in with her. Now, what I found out was very early on in the relationship was that her kids were older than me. Right? That should have gave me a clue. They should have gave me some kind of idea in my head. Her kids were older than me. Her youngest daughter was older than me by 6 months. You know, she had a son who was maybe 10 years older than me. Now, I'm going to give you guys the age gap, but don't laugh at me. Okay. I'm going to give you guys the age gap. When I tell you she was older, this woman was 26 years my senior. 26 years my senior. When I tell you, it's just like Smokey said in Friday. You know what I'm saying? The darker the berry, the sweeter. He said the older the berry, the sweeter the juice. And then Q said the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Well, she's blacker than the motherfucker too. But when I tell you she was 26 years my senior, and baby, look, I wasn't ready for all that. But I didn't think anything about it, right? I said, but this is when I found out that she was 26 years my senior. Her birthday the following year, she told me she was 47 years old. Now, just do the math. 21, she's 47. I didn't find out that she was 53 until her birthday. So I'm a 21-year-old man with a 53-year-old woman. Don't laugh at me. Don't you dare judge me. Don't you dare judge me. It was hard. She didn't look her age. She's one. It was a firm thing of when they say black don't crack. Because when I tell you, she flawless. She has kids at 53. And so we got into a relationship, and it was rough. And why it was so hard for me was because I really hadn't come into the man that I needed to be. Listen to me, don't. And it was I didn't know how to be a man. I had no. I'm just traveling. I'm going through. I'm making mistakes. I'm making bad choices. I'm doing things, and then I get with this older woman. And when I tell you, the most traumatic time of my life happened with that older woman. I can tell you many, 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 many stories about what happened with this woman. I'm gonna give you a couple of them. Okay. Um, this woman, I don't know. I think you know we did the adult thing. The first time I went over to her house, first time, and she was hooked like a fish, right? So she was from South Carolina. And anybody who's watching this or listening to this know that if you're from North or South Carolina, especially, they believe in witchcraft or hoodoo, voodoo, whatever they call it. And this woman put a root on me, something fierce. You understand me? She put a root on me, or what they say in the South. Marlo on TikTok who's listening to me and watching, they call it a root. So down there in South Carolina, she put a root on me. Now I'm not sure which one she put, because there's so many, they can put on you. Well, one they put the minstrel in the spaghetti sauce or whatever, which is nasty. That's nasty. I don't know who do that. But I don't know which root she put on me. But when I tell you, I was with this woman for 5 years. In every situation, I could not leave this woman. No matter what I did, I went on to another relationship. I was doing whatever, but I could not leave this woman, no matter what I did. And it was crazy. But when I tell you that this woman she played the ultimate I want to be your mama type situation. I want to be your mama. That's why I'm telling y'all, men, this is cautionary tale. Leave them cougars alone, because some of them, they want to be your mama. And if you want to, I mean, and it's okay if you want a mama type in your life, that's cool, right? But it wasn't what I needed at the time, right? And she was terrible. When I tell you I couldn't leave the house, I had to ask her if I could leave the house. And then if I go someplace, I have to call her when I got there. It was just bad. It was just bad. There was one instance to where um, we got into an argument. We was at her daughter's house one day. Story time, TikTok. We was at her daughter's house, and something happened. I can't remember the conversation to the T, but it was something to the effect of um, about being a man, in a relationship. And she said to me, she said to her daughter, "Well, he ain't no man. He ain't nothing. He what I tell him to be, you know." And I'm sitting there going, "What? Where did this come from?" Now at this point, we were maybe 2 or 3 years into the relationship. Oh, he ain't no man. You pretending. I tell him what to do. Everywhere he go, I tell him where to go. He wear the clothes I tell. I mean, it was just traumatic. But like I said before, like I said, I didn't know that she had a root on me at the time. But I tell you, it didn't matter. I was stuck with this woman, stuck like Chuck. And, you know, I can't even explain it now. At 50 years old, I can't even explain it now. But um, we got into a knockdown, drag out. I mean, just verbal. It wasn't, we weren't like fisticuffs, but we got into uh, a verbal altercation at her daughter's. And, I'm fighting for my life with this woman verbally, but it didn't work. And when I tell you that she run me through the ring, and because I had the inability to fight back, I got drugged. And the dragging went on for another couple of years. the traumatic that I felt, the traumatic that I went through, still to this day, there are bits of it that still haunt me today. We went through so much tragic stuff. At one point, I was cheating on her with another young lady, but I would sneak out of the house when she went to sleep because she went to sleep like 7:30 because she's old. But anyway, I would sneak out of the house to go cheat because I was just tired. I was so tired. Um, her boyfriend, not her boyfriend, her son, um, actually tried to fight me. It's just traumatic stuff. And I couldn't, to this day, still can't, you know. And so I actually went on and left her eventually. Eventually, I left her. After 5 years of trauma, arguments, fights, we got into a physical fight one time. And when I tell you this woman punked me all the way down. Don't judge me out here. I'm just saying, don't judge me. This woman punked me to death. Like we got into a fight, and she took. At the time, this is way before cell phones, and she had a house phone, and she took her house phone and was beating me over the head with it, literally, where I had lumps on the back of my head. And I'm like, so I went through a lot of verbal abuse from this woman, went through a lot of physical abuse from this woman, and it was just terrible. But she wanted me to stay, and I swear to God, I couldn't go. But as much as I wanted to, I could not leave. So eventually, I got up enough guts, unction to leave, and I left her for my second wife. But we'll get into that down the road. Um, got with started seeing her. Actually moved from Charlotte, North Carolina, to Jacksonville, North Carolina, to be with the other young lady, and she was still stalking me. No matter where I went, she would still call my phone, even though I changed. Listen, I left her. I changed my phone number. I didn't have that number an hour. I get a phone call from her. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, you should be here with me. I love you. I bought you this. I bought you that. Won't you come on back home? Because what she did was she attached. She knew that I was bougie, and I like certain things, and I'm like, even to the day, I'm bougie about certain things. I'm an electronic guy. I love electronics. Anything you buy me something with electronics, I'm all over it. You know what I'm saying? And so she would try to bribe me to come back, right? And it didn't work. It didn't work. And it was just a terrible, terrible situation. Listen, fellas, ladies, don't do it. Leave these. Listen, you better be in tune. This is a cautionary tale. This is what I want to say. You better be in tune with yourself when you're dealing with people, because you never know who you're going to run into. Everybody isn't on an even mental playing field with you. Everybody isn't on the same level as you at all. Sometimes, they say, everybody has a bit of crazy. That's the old saying. Everybody has a bit of crazy. The level of crazy you're willing to deal with is up to you, right? And that's a true story. And this woman was crazy beyond some, but I'm young. I'm 21. I don't know. What am I knowing? So we break up. I leave. I go with my soon to be second wife. She's not my second wife yet. She's just my girlfriend. So I moved to Jacksonville. Moved down there with her, and she's stalking and all that. Now my second wife, my second relationship, third actually, was from Chicago. She had some issues, so we had to end up leaving Jacksonville and move back to Chicago, back up to her mama's. So I went with her to Jacksonville, to Chicago. That's how I ended up in Chicago. This is in, I want to say, July of 2001. And the reason why I know that is because that's when that year 9/11 happened. So I go to Chicago. I know nothing of Chicago, first of all. Nothing. I'm from the South. What do I know about the city? Nothing. I can't ride the bus the same way. I can't smile at people. I can't do that. You can't do nothing in the city, especially the inner city. Now, and she was from Inglewood. Anybody from Chicago know if you know where Inglewood is. If you ain't from over there, you better know somebody. I'm saying. And this is back in '01. So I go to Chicago and I'm living with this woman and her mother and her attic. And I found myself falling in love with this woman. I fell in love with her. She had a little girl. Um, she just graduated from um, I forgot what she graduated from. I'm sorry, I'm bad. But she graduated from college with her master's just last weekend or weekend before. But I remember her when she was 6 months old. What's up? I was 6 months old, and um, but for some reason I could not. I told you that root was serious. Now, to give you a little bit of insight on that root, listen, we get to Chicago, we went up by Greyhound bus, right? So it took a couple of days. We went by Greyhound bus. We get to her mama's. Her mama says to me, "Who is Shirley? And why is she calling my house?" Say, what? We walk in the house. We had just got there, pulled it. We had my brother drove the U-Haul. So we pulled the U-Haul in the backyard and we get ready to unload it. And we walk in the house and her mother says to me, she says, "Who is Shirley and why is she calling my house?" Okay, we're not going to start that. We're not going to start that. And it was just the strangest thing. And she would call every other hour, call. And so I finally got on the phone with her. I told her, "Look, we're done, you know. But I bought you this pit bull puppy. I did this. I did that. Why don't you come back?" Da, 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 da. I said, "You're crazy. Don't call here no more." And she didn't. She stopped calling. So I didn't talk to her for another. I think I stayed with and I'll mention my second wife. We'll get down the road and talk about her later. But so I didn't talk to her for another 3 or 4 months. Maybe, yeah, 3 or 4 months. I'm getting acclimated to the city because I know nothing of the South Side. I know nothing of Chicago. So I I'm working security at a place in downtown Chicago. Right, I mean I might be 5 blocks from the Sears Tower. Well, now it's the Woods Tower. Um, so this one Saturday, and this is the last story I'm gonna tell before I get out of here. Um, I'm sitting there one Saturday, and for whatever reason or another, I decided to call Shirley. Just out of the blue. Just no rhyme or reason. So I called Shirley out of the blue and she said, "You I know you're gonna call me. That's how I know some witchcraft going on, because how in the world you know I'm gonna call you?" So I talked to her and I was like, "No, I didn't call you for all that. I just called you because of whatever. I just want to hear your voice, whatever. Whatever excuse I gave, I can't remember what it was." So I ended up calling her maybe 3 or 4 more times that day. I couldn't explain it. I can't explain it. 3 or 4 more times that day, and um, I called my girlfriend at the time. I called her, checking on her, checking on the kids, and but I never called her. I never talked to her again, right? So I called Charlie back the last time, and she says, "Listen, I got a plane ticket for you. I know you want to come home. I know you want to come home. I got a plane ticket at O'Hare waiting on you. All you got to do is to get on the train, go to the airport, grab your ticket, get on the plane, and come home." Now, the whole time, I ain't wanting to go. Like, I don't want to go. I don't. But whatever she did, whatever rut she put on me, baby, I couldn't fight it. I left that job stranded. Now, anybody who's ever done security, um, you can't abandon your post. I abandoned that post with the quickness. You understand? Got on because the blue line that runs to the airport was right next door. Right? I abandoned that post. I got on that blue line train. I went to the airport with just my uniform. I didn't have nothing else with my uniform. And I got on a plane. And when I tell you, once I got on that plane and flew back to Charlotte from Chicago, mid-flight, I knew that was the worst mistake I ever made. I get back, I land, she's there waiting for me. We instantly get into a fight. At baggage claim, we get into a fight because I knew that I made a mistake. So I said all that to say this before I get out of here. Listen, man. Like I said before, be mindful. You know, I know that sometimes it's hard because we don't know who we are yet. So it's important that we get to know who we are before we start dealing with other people, because everybody don't flow the same. Everybody don't have the same intentions. Everybody don't have the same intentions. Everybody doesn't feel the same way. Because in relationships, we want to be loved and valued. We want to be appreciated. We don't want to be taken advantage of. We don't want to be lied to. We don't want to be manipulated. But in this relationship that I had with Shirley, and it gets worse. And this is going to be a two-parter. It gets worse because it gets worse. I promise you. You got to stay tuned for that. It gets worse. So you have to follow the podcast to get the second part of the story. But in every way was when she manipulated me, abused me, and all because I didn't step into my manhood like I was supposed to. There's a certain time in your life you got to step into it. Sometimes you just got to step out in it. I mean, step into your manhood. Step into where you need to be. Because if you don't, you're going to get taken advantage of. You're going to get abused. And now I'm walking around at 50 still triggered by some of the things she did 20 years ago because we wasn't ready. Right? But on the lighter side of it, fellas, man, leave them damn cougars alone. If you're not ready, leave them women alone. Leave them alone. Because they will completely destroy you emotionally. I mean, maybe not physically, emotionally. Will completely destroy you if you aren't in a place where you need to be. That's the important thing here. Fellas, women, ladies, stop abusing the other half. If you got somebody good in your life, love them. If you got somebody good in your life, love them. Treat them with respect. It goes both ways, right? This is not a one-sided street. Some people think it is. In this society, some people think it is, but it's not. It's a two-way street. You love and appreciate who you're with. Because what you don't want to do is create trauma for somebody else because of your mistakes. Just saying. So with that being said, listen, I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you, Marlo on TikTok for taking your time and sitting and listening to me today. I hope you follow the podcast. You can follow it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get Spotify, where you get your podcast from. Please, 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 and subscribe. Knucklehead Chronicles podcast at podbean.com. You can follow that on the website, Knucklehead Chronicles podcast podbean.com. You can follow it on the website. You can check it out on Facebook. It's live over there, and on YouTube. But until then, man, love each other. That's all we got. That's all we got. Until next time.
Thank you for listening. I hope I didn't fry your brain too bad. Come back through and give me another chance. You can listen on all platforms and visit us at Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast.podbean.com. Until next time, in the words of the incomparable Jerry Springer, take care of yourself and each other.